Hi, I'm Laurie Pasco, a lawyer practicing family law in Ottawa since 1977. I've produced a series of 6 exciting, action-packed videos on how to complete Ontario's family law financial statements. So to help my clients, and anyone else separating in Ontario, or anyone varying a court order or varying a separation agreement, better understand and complete their financial statement. I've broken down my presentation into a series of videos. The first video is a general introduction to the financial statement, and the rest are mostly divided along the lines of the many different parts of the financial statement. And then I have a conclusion. To help explain how to complete the financial statement, I've created a fictitious client and a fictitious financial statement, rather than using just a blank statement. The financial statement is the most important document in the matrimonial legal process, so must be taken very seriously and must be completed correctly. The financial statement is necessary whether you're going to court, as is mandatory to file a financial statement to commence a legal proceeding, or it's also needed to negotiate a separation agreement out of court. The information recorded on the financial statement determines the issues of child support, spousal support, and the equalization of assets. Most people find that completing the financial statement is a daunting task. That is, unless it's their third divorce and they've had some practice. So hopefully this video will make it easier for you to complete the financial statement. But don't worry if you still have questions about it. I or your lawyer will help you finish completing it. But remember, these videos are not to be a replacement for legal advice. You should still consult a lawyer. I hope you find the videos helpful and even enjoyable. I would appreciate any feedback about them, and please visit my website at thepascodifference.com. Thank you.
I realize my videos are a little long and quite frankly at times a little boring. And we chose to create it ourselves rather than spend a lot of money on having it professionally produced. My marketing philosophy, which is also exemplified by my website, thepascodifference.com, is to be substantive and useful with a lot of practical information, not just about the law, but the process, and to give you a sense of who I am, rather than just being a brochure, which does not help you very much. It's not Hollywood, but it's informative. I also realize videos and reading articles is not for everyone, so I will not be insulted if you don't watch all my videos or read all my articles. There will be no test. To make completing this form easier, in this video I'm going to take you through the financial statement section by section so that even a monkey can fill it out. Hopefully this video will ensure your financial statement is completed correctly and will reduce the frustration some clients have in dealing with this form. In going through the statement, I'll be explaining the law at times so you better understand why this information is being asked from you. It is not just to make work for lawyers. However, the major purpose of having these video presentations is to allow you to reduce your legal fees by having you do a lot of the work yourself, so I or your own lawyer will spend less time working on it. You will need many documents to fill out the financial statement. Some of these documents are even required to be attached to the financial statement so to be accepted by the court. To prove your income, you need your most recent pay stub from employment and other pay stubs that will show all deductions that are made from your pay. Or you can provide a letter from your employer providing the same information. The reason more than one pay stub is usually needed is you may have something like union dues deducted only once a month, so one pay stub may not have all the deductions. You need copies of your 3 previous years' income tax returns, and that entails the whole return and all the attachments. You need copies of your 3 previous years' notices of assessment and any reassessments if there are any. If you do not have all of your tax returns or notices of assessment, you can phone CRA, as explained on page 2 of the financial statement, and request an income and deduction printout. Their spouse, to order these statements, even if they have the other forms, because it verifies the tax returns are the ones submitted and confirms there were no reassessments. With respect to expenses, with an exception, you will probably not be asked to produce documents to prove your expenses, except maybe by some anal retentive lawyer. I have refrained from inserting a slide here of pictures of lawyers I am referring to when I made that statement. So don't worry about producing all your hydro and water bills. Expenses are not as important as they once were in determining support now that we have the child support and spousal support guidelines because they are income-driven and not expense-driven. But you should look at your bill statements and bank statements that show what you paid for certain expenses so you can accurately state what your expenses are in the financial statement and justify it if asked by the other lawyer. The exception about actually producing documents to support expenses are for children's extraordinary expenses. Those receipts are now requested to be filed with the financial statement, though most people don't produce them, and the financial statement still seems to be accepted by the court without them. But they will be eventually asked for by the other side, so please obtain them. To prove the value of your assets and debts on the date of marriage and on the date of separation, please provide all documents that show the values you are claiming for any asset or debt for those two dates. This is very important because if you're trying to prove you had assets on the date of marriage, you generally have to have documents to support your claim. And of course, you have to confirm your separation agreement values. Though in appearance, Form 13 and Form 13.1 are very similar, but they are two different types of financial statements. Form 13.1 is used when support and assets are an issue, whereas Form 13 is used primarily in variation cases after the original asset settlement has been made and a new amount of support is the issue. The main difference, therefore, is that in Form 13, being the support-only form, does not require asset information for the time of marriage or the time of separation, because that information is not necessary for the support issue. In that case, you need only your present-day values. There are a few other minor differences in the forms, which will I point out as we go along. Mind you, the first difference in these two forms are the instructions on page 1. It's a different format for some reason, but basically the same type of information is required. In my next lifetime, I'm coming back as a person who designed these forms and will eliminate these differences and other matters I think can be improved upon. To help explain the financial statement better, I have created a fictitious Jane Doe. I'm using the more widely used Form 13.1, but as stated, we'll discuss how and show the differences in Form 13 when the differences arise. On page 1, you do not need to fill out the names and addresses section of the parties or the lawyers, as I or your lawyer will do that. If you live in Ottawa and had the good sense to choose me as your lawyer, this video supplements the booklet I wrote on how to complete the financial statement, which is found under tab 3 of my Family Law Client Manual. Don't worry, I'll be keeping my commercials short and to a minimum. I now suggest you sit down with a blank financial statement, which I or your lawyer would have given you, and with a pencil, go through each section of the financial statement in order with me as we go through these videos. Or, if you requested and I gave you an electronic version of the form, fill in the form that way and forget the pencil. But unfortunately, you'll have to manually calculate the totals or wait for me to do that on my computer. Do not worry if you leave parts of the financial statement blank. I or your lawyer will help you complete the financial statement, but your preliminary work will greatly help to produce a more accurate statement and reduce your legal costs, as your work on the form will reduce the time that I or your lawyer spend on drafting the financial statement with you. If you're not represented by a lawyer, and yes, I may be biased when I say that is not a wise thing to do, or you are not yet at the stage of retaining a lawyer but want to start getting prepared, the Ontario government website has financial statements in PDF format and Word format and can be found at www.ontariocourtforums.on.ca/English/family. I would also point out on divorcemate.com's website, in their library, under user guides, they have an article on how to fill out the financial statement. Though I'm pretty sure I wrote mine first. These videos are not to be used as a replacement for legal advice. You should still consult a lawyer. Now I invite you to watch the other 5 remaining videos in this series on how to complete the financial statement.